everybody to the Weekend High Podcast, another episode, another quick interview with one of Hollywood's elite. I say she's the elite of my book because she's the only one I know. You know what I'm saying? Putting major shows out, writing credits, movie credits, from comedy, to some of your favorite shows like Raising Kanan, to P-Valley, see, help me out. Keep going with that.
My daughter's favorite, the dog with the blog.
Okay, the dog with the blog. You know what I'm saying? That's Snowfall, everything like that. So how you doing today?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
All is well on this Sunday.
Nice out there. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes. So we brought you here today to talk about there's a lot of different roles in Hollywood people play. A lot of times we only see the actors and actresses, but we rarely get to see the people behind the lens and who actually come up with the content and ideas for shows. So definitely we got one of the best in the business here. And just wanted to know, how did you, just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you from, and how did you get started in the industry?
Well, I am an LA native. So not too many people in the industry are from LA. Most people are what I call imports or implants, depending on how you want to look at it. And I went to UCLA, went to graduate school, and kind of fell into writing after grad school. I went to film school, and it was a long, arduous journey. That included winning competitions and getting in writing programs. And then, in all honesty, it was just other Black women and Black men noticing my talent and just, they kept saying my name until, they couldn't deny me any longer. Yeah.
Okay. That's what's up. So definitely, that's interesting. I definitely know that, to get to that level you were at in the industry, I'm sure it had to be hard. And did you have to do like a lot of the younger people that might be watching, they might want to know, did you have to how did you go about submitting your writing, or how did you go about, did you enter a lot of contests when you were in college as far as like writing contests or talent competitions like that?
Yeah, I think one thing about writing is you don't need permission to do it. You don't need, you just need paper, pen, phone, tablet, iPad, whatever you got. And so I would write a lot, and then I entered a lot of competitions, festivals, anything that had to do with writing, I was doing it. And I think, for anyone who's like an aspiring writer, I always say, as long as you're writing and working on new projects, there's nothing that's going to stop you.
Okay.
A question though, does it matter like where you go to school at? Like for as far as like in the entertainment industry?
It can help. It doesn't necessarily hurt you if you go somewhere else. It can just help. Like, there are some things that give you advantages, and your networking circle is one of those things. So, certain schools have better, connections because there's more people from those schools in the industry. UCLA, USC, NYU, anything. What else? Howard. Yeah, Howard is a big one. They have a little gang. Some of the HBCUs like FAMU, that's another one. They have, there's enough people. There's just specific schools that do pretty well as far as entertainment, and they're known for it. Like if you're in comedy and you want to be a comedy writer, and you went to Harvard and you were in a Harvard Lampoon, you're going to find a job in a couple of years. They are running all of SNL and those other shows. So certain schools can be a help. They definitely can be, a really good networking pod, or just to get that entry level position. You still have to have talent and still have to do the work, but because so and so, if there's 100 people applying for this one PA job, and someone, or they just know you went to school, their same alma mater, it's more likely that you'll get that interview.
Okay, so definitely it relies on a lot of connections, a lot of people you might come into contact with. So you basically you want to pretty much be a people person, and I would take it so you can keep those relationships going. So now another thing I heard you mention writing, and a lot of people don't know this about you. You know, I had heard that you were one of the coldest female rappers, gangster rappers back in the day from LA.
Hey, what? I was gonna be a gangster rapper. You wasn't telling me nothing. Wasn't a gangster, but I was just gonna be a gangster rapper. You didn't have to. That's not me to be a gangster rapper. Just out there, right? Pretending to be gangster, but they not really gangster. So I just like the storytelling part of rap. That's really what I like. You know, I wanted to tell stories. And so, I think as a 15-year-old, one of the most interesting ways of telling stories was rap. And so I was like, that seems interesting, but I was like, yeah, that's not probably viable career. So I think it's like, maybe I'll write some alibis here and there, but other than that, let me try to be a real writer.
What do you think if you would have chose that career path? What was your name, and do you think you would be a platinum artist? Like, will you be one of those artists we remember? I remember you like Lil Kim. I remember we'd be singing your praises. So do you think if you would have just said, you know what, I'm just going to focus on this, and then on this rap thing, how far do you think you would have gone?
I would have gone far. I mean, anything you put your mind to, I would have started some rap battles and some beefs. I'd have had a good beef or two. But I think, everything, there's in entertainment, there's no lane. There's no, you don't go to, with medical school, you go to medical school, right? You take the board, you're a doctor. Law school, you take the, LSAT, you get into law school, then you pass, you get to pass the bar, you're a lawyer. That's not the case for entertainment, so you kind of make your own path, and it's whatever you want it to be. And I think the longevity of entertainment is all about reinventing yourself and finding, what you do that's a part of the new zeitgeist and the new pulse of where culture is trending. And that's not saying to hop on the bandwagon. It's just, how do you fit into what's right now, what's current? What about you makes what's current even that much more of a perspective that's fresh? And so that's kind of how I look at it. I look at it, it's just the longevity is just finding my voice in everything. And we all have a voice. You just have to have the audacity to use your voice.
You pass it to UC.
So we can have a song for you by Beyonce soon, right?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But if she called me and she like, Tash, what you doing? I'd be like, well, what you want to do, girl? What's up? But I'm
throw some bars around and get paid. Jump on that track and get paid.
Like I said, if she called me, I ain't gonna say no. I ain't no fool. Mama didn't raise no fool, but I'm not looking to do it. I think, with writing, you can write anything. You know what I'm saying? Once you can tell a story, you can tell a story in any medium. That if that's on an album, if that's in a song, because a good song is a story. I think
that's what these rappers doing anyway.
Yeah, the good ones. The good ones. They tell a good story, right? You can't. You think of your favorite albums, they're probably telling a story. I was about to say that I was watching that. They were talking about, Chris Brown was talking about he would battle Usher. And I was just like, these new kids. Now I would like to see it.
I heard that. I was like, nah, Usher got more hits than Chris Brown. That's, what I'm saying? It goes in steps. It's like, okay, I can see you, Chris Brown, but you're not going to be Usher. Just like Usher ain't going to be Michael Jackson. I just had this discussion with somebody. Right. I said, go to YouTube and look up the 1993 halftime show when Mike was disappearing and come back. That's the greatest. Entertainment is about captivating people. I mean, people was falling out crying. Grown men was falling out crying, fainting over Michael Jackson in foreign countries. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't
When
speak
you
a
look
lick
at
of
those
English.
albums, they're stories, right? Because Beat It is,
Right.
Thriller is a story. That whole album.
Oh,
Confessions, that's a story.
Yep,
Those
yep,
are all
yep.
stories. So that's why I say, if you can tell a good story, you can write anything. So, like I said, be you looking for me, I'll write you a story. You put it to music.
You heard that, Beyonce?
Now with that being said, you said, as far as writing, you can write anything. So now I'm gonna ask you a quick question now. What responsibility as a writer do you feel do writers have would you say that writers have responsibilities to either whatever community they belong to, or their own beliefs, or they just basically should just be held to responsibility of their creativity, or is it or do you have a response, like some writers who, this is what people say, not me, but this is what people say. Now sometimes you have a narrative of people say, well, writers can make certain narratives, or they make certain people look a bad way, or they don't make these people look this way, you know what I'm saying? So do you feel like as a writer, and especially as a sister, is there a certain responsibility do you feel you have, or do you feel like with writing it's a job, or a career, I'm sorry, not a job but a career, where you shouldn't be held, it's kind of like comedy, like comics, nowadays, comics get canceled, but I'm saying like comedy was a thing where you could be raw, you didn't really have the responsibility to be PC. So what do you think?
I think we all have social responsibilities. If you're in this community, you have a certain responsibility to your community. I mean, no man is an island. You know what I'm saying? The emperor should have clothes. So you need to actually be held accountable for whatever you produce. I do feel a certain responsibility as a writer to portray certain images certain ways. I mean, I write for Snowfall and Raising Kanan and other, P-Valley. They could be considered, a little more passe, or, I don't know, people may be like, ooh, it's a little risque. What is that? But I feel like I do it with the social responsibility. I try to be authentic. I try to make sure, I'm representing the culture in a way that I can be proud of, that once I'm long and gone, it's not denigrating our fellow people in any way, specifically Black people. And I think that goes for every entertainer, whether it's a writer, a rapper, or a comedian. I mean, I don't believe in the whole cancel culture at all. I think we're just holding people accountable, and that could be, a strain on some people who don't want to be accountable. But who's been canceled? You can't name one person that has literally been canceled. There's not anyone. I'll wait.
Let's go with Monique.
Monique is on BMF right now. What are you talking about? She's not counting.
Look, Monique is getting. She can apologize. Went on her apology tour, and she getting paid.
Why has she been doing tours all along? Never canceled. You may not have the same access to the same opportunities, but I cannot name one comedian, entertainer, singer that has been canceled. Politicians, none of them. They still find their way back because, first of all, we have very short attention spans, right? So what we mad at today, we ain't gonna be thinking about tomorrow. So
do you think Jussie Smollett might make a comeback?
Absolutely. He'll figure something out.
Oh, definitely will.
Yeah.
I mean, because people, he on this tour right now, and people want to talk to him. So he has a reason to be in people's face. And so they'll let him in his face. And then he's talented. So he'll figure something out. Will he have the same access that he had prior to the incident? No, it'll take a while to rebuild it. But he's not. There's no such thing as being canceled, especially from the Black culture. We don't have enough power. If that's the case, I'd have been canceling shit back and forth a long time ago. We have some real canceled things to cancel. Yeah. But yeah, I think people are just, are being held accountable. And I do know a lot of writers who say, well, it's whatever's best for the story. And I'm like, no, you have a social responsibility because whoever holds the pen has the power. or we don't write with pens anymore, but that's the saying, that's the quote. So I try to use that power as responsibly as possible.
You know what, and that is a good, that I like your answer for that. Now I'm gonna say you're right. Like when you were talking about some of the shows and everything, like as a brother, a brother, you know what I'm saying? Straight as an arrow. No distance, no, I got my family, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, a regular average, brother. I was watching, I watch a lot of shows. I was watching P-Valley that first season. I was like, whoa, okay, this is, you know what I'm saying? Now, the second season, I watched that first episode, and it's like, okay, I don't think this is a show for me no more.
Well, I didn't watch P-Valley second season, so you can't hold me accountable for P-Valley second.
I'm not holding you accountable. I'm just saying, like,
but as a writer on the show, if you was like,
who is the audience? Well, who is the audience? Like, what would you feel? Not that you wrote that. I'm not saying you wrote that way, but I'm just saying, like, who would the audience? Who is that audience really for? You know what I'm saying? Like, because, I'm just saying.
The audience is. I think you have to realize people you don't think is watching it is watching that show. There's no way they're not. It's a popular show. So the audience is whoever wants to watch it. It's definitely over 18, but I'm sure teenage boys are watching it. Our girls too. I think it's a slice of life. Those are real people. It's not like these people are caricatures. Those are real people that the creator Katori Hall, she did a lot of research before she wrote. It's based off of a play. And before she wrote that play, she spent a year and a half with dancers, AKA strippers, and in that world. And it's an alternative family. Sex work is a profession. It's the oldest profession that we have. So,
I drive down Figueroa and I see that profession living on and living well.
It's not gonna die. It is the first profession. Right? Like, people are like, no, farming. No, farming was so we could survive. You didn't sell your produce. Whatever you grew, you ate. It was, self-sustaining. The very first career or job was a sex worker. That's the very first career, very first job. So, if we try to deny it and, have this whole respectability politics around it, I think we do a disservice to ourselves.
Pass the ball to you, see.
I
I'm going another question. I like the car. We thinking deep here, so I'm down with you.
We get high. Y'all didn't get high enough to have this conversation. What's up?
I am. But you know what I'm saying. We always, like I said, we always want to be respectful of the guests, and the guests, we want to make sure our guests are comfortable. So, like I said, we'll
I wrote on P-Valley. I think I might be. I wrote on P-Valley. I might be all right.
Okay. You cool with me. You cool with me. You was cool with me though, for real.
But I have a question about, like, far as like for career wise, have you, like, what's next for you? Like, do you like directing or producing shows, or like what's next for you?
Well, I've always directed, Chris. So, like, I started off directing, and I've directed 2 features, some short films. As a writer for television, you're always producing. So everything you write, you end up producing. And at this stage in my career, I'm an executive producer, which means, I'm trying to move to the top of the food chain where I can have my own show now and be a showrunner and do all of those things. And some of that stuff is in the works. It just, takes time, all the stars to line up, all the blessings I can get. They have to be all at the same time. Everybody, grandma on their knees praying for me. But right now, it's really my next goal is to have my own show, that I created, and specifically my vision. As a writer for television right now, I help other showrunners or writer producers. There's always, every show has a showrunner, and I help their visions come to fruition. I help write scripts to make what they think, the story they want to tell. And I lend them my perspective to those shows. And so now I'm like, well, I want to be the one to shape the vision, and other people lend me their perspective. So that's what's next for me. Creating and continue to write and produce, and eventually direct more. It's just so many balls in the air that you can't do everything. So we'll see.
Hey, let's give her a round of applause for that, because she, her next show, that's what we want. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to hear. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna be rooting for you, definitely. I'm gonna be rooting for you, definitely. Now, if let's say now, don't be just saying thank you. Now, if I got a show idea, I can hit you with it, and you can look at it, and you'd be like, you know what, that might work. But don't cut me out now.
Chris, get your voice.
She wants you to stop.
You know what I'm saying? But I did some. Hey, you know how Chris? See, I gotta say, I did some acting, and I went to acting school. People don't know this.
Black acting school.
I'm past my prime now. You know what I'm saying?
What acting school? I mean, there's no such thing as past your prime for acting.
Oh, it's past my prime. You know what? I found it hard. Like so you definitely know I had to interact with, other communities and things, especially in the acting world. You know what I'm saying? I got some good friends of mine that, cool, beautiful people, love me to death. You know what I'm saying? I love them too. But I'm just saying, it's hard. It seems like, this was like some years ago, but it seemed like it was hard kind of like getting roles or getting like, if it was like, I'm going to say this, I always got typecast probably as a cop. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, damn, I just can't do nothing but they just want me to play a cop every time.
You look real straight laced like that. You look like you follow the rules.
Yeah, I mean,
the rule follower.
It was fun though. I did a
rule follower.
It was, how it is. But but I'm happy and blessed to, I'm saying, the way I'm living now, doing my thing and everything, just being an entrepreneur, trying to be, be like Miss Natasha here, get that, get it going and everything. But one of the things I wanted to ask you, like in your industry right now, in this present time, what do you think like are some of the biggest challenges you face with today, or in the last, if you want to say like the last 10 years, you can, but like what are some of like the biggest things that you're faced with in today's industry? Is there certain things that you have to like barriers you have to go break down, or if there's certain, or have you or there's certain things you like, man, I wish I could change this, like if I was running this show I would change this?
I mean, yeah, I'm a Black woman in America, in this world. There's no racism or sexism ever.
So you're right.
That never happens.
No.
But all the time. I mean, yeah, it is. There's a lot of, racism, sexism, patriarchy follows me around. And, but I've learned to stand my ground. I've learned to understand that I'm here for a reason, and I've been given the opportunities to be a voice for the voiceless. So there have been times where I had to say, I'm gonna die on this hill. We ain't doing this. I've been in rooms where I didn't like what was the images that were being portrayed, and I stood up and said no, and they would be like, damn it, she's not gonna let this go. I am not. So you have to do that. Otherwise, why am I there? If I don't do it, who's gonna do it? As well as, I also, hold it, in high esteem that the images I portray are hopefully to better us and give us, more dimensions, and stop looking at us, like you said, as caricatures. You shouldn't always have to be cop. We're not just all thugs or cops. There's things in between, right? And so what does that look like? And, those images still need to be portrayed, especially for Black and brown people. And I think that's where, my struggle lies. It's just making sure we're fully fleshed characters and not just caricatures of what people think we are. We're not just out here creating TikToks for people to appropriate. And so I think that's where I lead from. That's why I write. I say my motto is I write for Black women first and foremost, and then everybody else will benefit because, Black women save the world, if you hadn't heard. So that's the stories I tell. And as a result, other people benefit from it because, we're at the bottom. And so if you start at the bottom, you can kind of bring up everybody else with them. And so I just want to, encourage, embolden, and empower Black women with the stories that I tell. And if I do that, I think then I'm leaving a mark. And all that other nonsense that, of course, is surrounding me, it becomes noise in the background that I can just shrug off and be like, whatever. You're going to be what you're going to be anyway. It's not going to stop me.
Yes, I heard that.
I'd have this really big question. It's just something that I see on TV a lot, and it just, when there's a love interest for a person of color, mostly Black, do they purposely cast the love interest as a different race?
I mean, sometimes it's intentional. It just depends on the show. I mean, I remember a friend asking me, not in the industry, was there an agenda not to show Black love? And I was like, it's not an agenda of Black people, that's for sure. But you have to think who's in the power, who has the final say. So if you look at a show like Insecure, it was very intentional. It was a lot of Black love, but that was created by a Black woman. Right. The showrunner, apprentice, Black man. He has a Black wife, so they wanted the images that, was what around them to be indicative of what people would see on the show. Then you look at some of these other shows and they're network shows and there's mostly white executives. If you look up the statistics, it's not that many. So they kind of make it palatable by saying, oh, give him an other, whatever that is.
Right. That's shows with Boris Kodjoe, they would put him with another person that's not Black. And I believe he had a show that was with a Black lead and the show didn't do well.
Well, yeah, nobody watched it. That's another thing, sometimes we complain about stuff and then we don't support it. And then we go, then you just prove them right. You know what I mean? Oh, well, people don't like to see that. They like to see this. And then that's what everybody goes out and watches. It just reinforces that whole, ideology. And so then, because it's entertainment business. So it's the business of entertainment. They try to make money. Right. So, I mean, you look at shows like This Is Us, he had a whole Black ass. You know what I mean? He did,
yes. What show was that?
This Is Us.
This Is Us.
Yeah.
His whole family was Black. His wife was Black. He had Black kids. He had Black friends.
Yeah. The Black kids.
Yeah. And he had a Black life, in a white world. And so that's indicative of what actually happened. So I appreciated that. But then to your point, Chris, there are a lot of interracial relationships on TV, depicted on TV, and it's just a stereotype. And until we support our own, we can't justify it. I know if I make a show, what they're gonna be.
Well, I hope you have some strong. That's one of the things I wanted to touch on since Chris opened the bag up. I don't see a lot of strong male Black characters. If it's a Black character, either the character is of a different sexual orientation, or he's not an actual Black American. He might be, British or African, or like straight from, when I mean African, like straight from Africa, not like been here 400. You know what I'm saying? Like culturally African. That's what I'm saying. Not. You
mean, are there characters?
Like, we only get Denzel, we only get Samuel L. Michael B. Jordan, he's one of them. I say Will's one of them, but you only get those type of actors once every so many, like years. Like now, I notice, like, I'm just saying from my perspective, and it could be wrong. And I've seen people in social media. I don't know if we see a lot of good, like as far as a regular Black male dude, like. Or for instance, remember the series Soul Food? Remember Soul Food, the series? I kind of like that because at least you saw like, you know, hardworking brother, like the other, like this is it. You saw hardworking brother. Maybe, you know, Lynn was kind of an ex-felon or whatever, but people could relate to that because you have an uncle that might have got out of jail, but he's still trying to do right. Remember the other brother who had the tow company? Like, where are those characters at? Like, we don't really see those no more. We really see now, like you said, like everything is just ratchet.
The shows KZ, I have to disagree with you because the shows I write on have those characters. I mean, Snowfall, Raising Kanan, Unsolved, Rebel, like those are all black ass people, regular black ass people. So I can't speak for that because the shows I choose to write on, and those aren't the shows that I could get jobs on. Those are the shows that I chose to write on. Right, you know, I had other options. You know, there was a very popular show on Hulu that I won't say, but it's a depressing show, so I'll let you think of what it is. That's really popular. That's on Hulu, and I was offered a job on that. And I was like, first of all, it's one black guy on there. He always whining over this white lady, and I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to write on that show.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we know exactly what you're talking about.
I find my value in that show. I was like, I like this show, and I have watched seasons of it. I don't watch it anymore because it's too depressing. But I was like, I respect them, but I can't write on that show. I don't see what value I'm going to bring and how I'm going to be able to fulfill my lot in life, which is to embolden, empower, and encourage Black women. I was like, that ain't the show to do it. And even if it was like a cool ass Black dude that I can help actualize, I was like, I can write those stories in my sleep, but I don't want to. So to your point, there are shows that don't represent us well and don't have the multifaceted nature that we would like to see. And we have to still strive for that. And I think, you know, I feel like I always say I'm not a brain surgeon. Ain't nobody gonna die if I don't do my job right. But I do think that I impact our culture and our community significantly because what people see is how they form their opinions. And if I can help show them more than just, you know, what Fox News is gonna put out there, then I'm doing something to help right a horrible, horrific wrongs that happen all the time. So I'm on those shows, bro. So you have to just look up the credits and go watch those shows.
Long as you on there, we good. Long as you on there, we good. Just make sure you put some strong Black male characters for your boy, because like I said, it's brothers out here like myself. You know what I'm saying? My son's mother died at a very young age. I went to court and fought for my son and got 2 judges. You don't hear about stories like that. Then I lost my mother under unconventional circumstances with family. So I've been through some things in life that I don't see those kind of stories written, but I know if you there, a person of mind like yours, we're in good shape. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can rest assured we're in good shape. I feel like this stuff coming out of you like the next good times. Classics, you know what I'm saying? Classics.
Good times is I ain't right now. But I see what you're saying. No, but I get your point. I mean,
you know where I'm coming from, classic material.
Yeah, that's classic for another reason. But I did help a friend of mine create a show. It's called Reasonable Doubt. It comes out in September on Hulu. And it's set in LA. She's from LA. It's set in actually Ladera, Baldwin Hills, you know, and Crenshaw and all of that. And it's a drama. And it's very Black. The whole writer's room is Black. It's Black AF. Like, it's so Black. And, you know, I'm super proud of it. You know, it's a really good friend of mine. And I was like, yeah, girl, let me come help you do this show because it's important. And it's important for that reason because KZ needs to see himself. That's what I told her.
Definitely will support that show. Yeah.
There we go.
I didn't know you, but I was like, when I meet KZ, I'm going to say this was for him. And so there you go.
There you go. I'm for real. I am seriously proud of you, and we seriously proud of you for what you've accomplished. Because, like I said, we don't get in a lot of these spaces. You know what I'm saying? People that look like us don't get in a lot of these spaces, and so what you there representing, and then with the mindset you have of giving back in your own way, when you're through your creativity, you're giving back to the community. We love you for that. We thank you for that. You know what I'm saying? I will definitely be watching Reasonable Doubt, promoting it, talking about the show. And I'm definitely excited to, when you do, like have your, like, I know you directed movies and stuff before. I'm talking about like, I want, when you get that one, you know what I'm saying? That one you feel like, okay, this is my baby.
You're getting that Emmy Award, and you're getting those Oscars.
I'm gonna be like, right there. I'll definitely be pushing for you, and wish you nothing but the best in the future. And because other young sisters need to see that too, so they can, you know what I'm saying, like, so they have somebody that they can look at and say, hey, okay, she used her writing to get here, so what can I do with mine? You know what I'm saying? So we need to see that, and that's just a blessing that what you're doing. So we definitely thank you for doing this interview for us. Cause you didn't have to do it. We ain't no damn body. So, but we appreciate your time.
Repeat after me. I am somebody.
I am
somebody. I'm gonna say it. I am somebody.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and I'm glad you guys out there putting some positivity out in the world. We need it very much. So.
See, you want to say anything in closing, my friend?
Thank you so much. Now my wife ain't gonna kill me.
No, you get to live, Chris. You did
Thank
well.
You. Next time you see me, I'll be like,
we had to go. We had to go from set up just in case.
What you do? Thank you guys, and you guys have a great rest of your podcast, weekend, summer, all the good things. And when I have something to promote, I'll let y'all know. I'll be back.
Thank you. We definitely will. Once again, everybody, Weekend High Podcast. We're in here with not only the one and only Tasha Gray, one of your favorite writers from all your favorite shows. Y'all probably watching them, DVRing them. Some of y'all probably bootlegging them on YouTube, but still, she ain't gonna hold you for that. Thank you so much, Tasha. We're gonna see you next weekend, everybody. Peace.